All right, everybody, welcome to the FTW Wrestlemania Round Table Extravaganza of Stars. Coming to you live on March 11, 2012 with Joe. Say hello, Joe.
Hello!
Greg from killthecan.org. Say hi, buddy.
Hello! How goes it?
Pretty good. Garvin's man of the boards, and as always, I'm Harrison. If you're new to the show, check out FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved in tonight's show, as well as upcoming shows. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, text message, and email. We're bringing your comments and questions throughout the show, so if you want your voice to be heard, this is your opportunity. Tonight's live chat can be found at FTWpodcast.com/live, and you can also email questions at questions at FTWpodcast.com. And if you're on Twitter, use hashtag FTWLive. We'll be reading all your messages on the air throughout the night. So we're going to be going, the docket of the show is to go through WrestleMania, every WrestleMania that happened since, well, basically 1985 was the first one. And we're going to go show by show. We're going to talk about the best things about it and the worst things about it. And we're going to start back in with WrestleMania 21. Staples Center of Los Angeles, California. WrestleMania goes Hollywood. Fun facts, Big Show defeated Akebono for the first ever sumo match in WWE history. Roddy Piper hosted a WrestleMania's edition of Piper's Pit for the first time since WrestleMania 5. The class of 2005 for the Hall of Fame was introduced during the actual WrestleMania. The inductees were Hulk Hogan, Mr. Wonderful, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., Jimmy Hart, Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov for some reason, Roddy Piper. Undertaker improved his WrestleMania record to 13-0 against Randy Orton, and both the big gold, the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championship gold belts, were changed hands this night. Also, interestingly, this was the WrestleMania with the brand extension when it was like the hard brand extension, when only people on SmackDown wrestled on SmackDown pay-per-views and only people on WWE or Raw wrestled on Raw pay-per-views, except for the big four. So we had two inter-promotional matches with Taker defeating Randy Orton to go 13-0, and then Kurt Angle defeating Shawn Michaels, and that was basically it. Every other one was one or the other. 20,000 people in attendance, but the really big thing for me, as far as this one, the debut of the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and that's definitely being echoed in the live chat. When we asked for what everyone's thoughts were for the best the best WrestleMania moment, a lot of people pointed to the first Money in the Bank match. This was fantastic. You know, anytime that the WWE basically puts out a new idea, it's usually very successful.
Yeah. No, hands down. What about you guys, Rob? Joe, what'd you think?
Money in the Bank definitely stands out. Then there's also the fact that, like we said, both the WWE and World Heavyweight title changed hands, and that's something that doesn't happen often.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we had a women's championship match that was actually a wrestling match, because you've got Trish Stratus defeating Christy Hemme, who apparently did more in the WWE than Kiss Lillian Garcia. Before she moved to TNA.
What else we got? Batista defeated the Triple H to become the new World Heavyweight Championship, or a new World Heavyweight Champion. You can tell they had big things planned for Batista at this WrestleMania in his debut. And yeah, Rob, we know your opinion on it. I mean, did you really think? I don't know. It seems like square peg round hole. Like they were trying to recreate. Maybe they were trying to recreate what they did with so many other people. Have them have a huge debut at WrestleMania and then hope it catapults them. But it didn't really seem to happen with him. He was always in the main event, but he was always kind of it's Batista.
Well, that's what we said.
Oh, right.
Batista.
Yeah, I think you're onto something, Harrison. I think they definitely tried to. I mean, because they put him in a main event match. They put him in World Heavyweight Championship match where he wins the belt from Triple H. So they're obviously trying to push the guy, but due to his exceptional lack of talent, he was never really able to take off.
Exceptional lack of talent.
Rob, you are the biggest biggest fan I've ever seen.
Batista? Yeah, just cup the balls, dude. It's cold outside. All right. The sumo match. Akebono defeating Big. Thank God they defeated Big Show. I gotta be honest. This was one of those things where it was like, this is how I'd imagine everyone's racist uncle would imagine a sumo match would go.
It was pretty bad.
It was terrible.
It was, yeah.
Dude, they were on the internet. We'll get you a better match than this.
Yeah, they were definitely trying to bring that celebrity involvement again, trying to put a major focus on it. But I don't know whether it is, just the lack of anyone caring about the Big Show or no one caring about sumo wrestling. I'm not sure which caused this to bomb the most. Probably a little bit of A and a little bit of B.
Yeah, it was just... it was just terrible. It was terrible. What else?
Cena. This was Cena's first heavyweight championship.
Yep.
I'm sorry, the WWE championship. This is when he started to reign supreme in the WWE. So that was a big moment.
Yeah, defeating JBL of all people. Come out of WrestleMania 21. Yeah. 2005. Mark it. All right. Anything else before we move on to WrestleMania 22?
Yeah, this was the Hollywood build-up. So this is when we saw basically everyone in those little vignettes before, where they're all like taking moments that we've seen in movies, like The Undertaker was in that Gunsmoke one. We saw Triple H starring in the Braveheart ripoff type thing. Also, Snitsky raping Cole in the back was during this.
That's right.
Poor Michael Cole.
Spectacular.
I bet his cornhole is just sore.
All right, so WrestleMania 22, April 2nd, 2006, at the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois. Big things to come out of here. WWE Women's Championship match, Mickie James defeating Trish Stratus. I mean, if you had to look at the women's division before it went all diva and passing the torch, I gotta say this match was probably a Trish Stratus and the title, and basically the heir to the Women's Championship throne to Mickie James, as far as who would be the next breakout star in that division.
Yeah.
Then, later on that night, we had the Playboy Pillow fight with Tori Wilson defeating Candice Michelle. It was... it was so sad.
It was almost like Trish Stratus says, "Here's the torch and the throne. Congratulations, look what you've inherited."
Yeah. She's like, "I'm getting the fuck out of here."
Yeah. But Mickie James, man, Trish Stratus, the lick. No?
Yeah, no, I remember that. That was fantastic.
Wasn't it though? Oh my god. Oh, yes.
That was the moment where Mickie James really got over.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, God damn it, Joe.
And then
she was popular at that point. What the fuck, Harrison?
It was just the way you said it that lecherously, yeah, she did. Like, it was like, oh, I gotta go take a shower now. Another Money in the Bank ladder match. Rob Van Dam in the twilight of his career, but apparently did not know it yet. Beating Shelton Benjamin, Ric Flair, Finlay, Matt Hardy, and Bobby Lashley for another Money in the Bank ladder. And this kind of cemented it as far as like this is a phenomenal match that they're gonna do every year, and it was like this is gonna be awesome every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we saw the no holds barred match, Shawn Michaels against Vince McMahon. The Boogeyman defeating Booker T and Sharmell in a handicap match.
Hell yeah. What else? Hardcore match, Edge versus Mick Foley. Edge defeating Mick Foley. This is like one of the last times we ever saw a hardcore match, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say shortly thereafter it went PG.
Boogeyman, Booker T.
And Sharmell. Boogeyman defeats.
Yeah, Booker T and Carmella. Yeah. All right. So what
in
else
a
we got?
handicap match.
Yeah.
That's almost an event I want to find on DVD and watch again because I want to remember how Charmel got into a handicap match against the Boogeyman.
I thought Boogie was chasing her down. I thought he was obsessed with her.
I think so too, but it's hard to remember exact storylines.
And then the WWE Championship match, John Cena defeating Triple H and retaining the title. I'm trying to figure out when it was that everyone started to hate him. And I gotta say, it wasn't this year, but the next.
Yeah, it was definitely the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's move on to that one. WrestleMania 23, April 1st, 2007, at Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan. This was it. This was John Cena defeating Shawn Michaels. For the WWE Championship match. And this was when everyone kind of started, as far as like the Marks community, the real hardcore wrestling fans really started to hate. Because this is when John Cena was the face of the WWE.
Oh, yeah. And it just got obsessive. Or excessive, I'm sorry, not obsessive. I was in attendance at this one. And in a way, it was a little bummed because it wasn't as good as it could have been. The Money in the Bank match was phenomenal. The entire crowd just laughed their asses off after Kennedy congratulated himself for winning Money in the Bank. But yeah, I mean, Chris Benoit versus MVP, that was a good match. You had Taker defeating Batista, which was weak. The ECW Originals against the New Breed, another weak match, especially because WWE had the knack of editing out any music that they actually had to pay for. So when you had Enter Sandman for Sandman, they did it live and then they edited it out. It wasn't on the DVDs. They added in some crappy music. Bobby Lashley against Umaga. A lot of people crap on that match. I liked it, except for the entire hair versus hair stipulation. I think the two guys worked well together. I was a guy who wanted to see more out of Bobby Lashley. Didn't get to see it, but...
Yeah, I think the major issue with that match was the fact that Donald Trump just sucked at doing anything improv or on the mic at all.
Couldn't remember Bobby Lashley's name.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sooner people realize that Donald Trump's an idiot, the better this world will be.
The one match that I thought was a true travesty was Great Khali beating Kane.
Yeah, this was the first WrestleMania for the Great Khali, and yeah. He was terrible. He was terrible.
I love the fact that Melina versus Ashley happened, and everyone thought Ashley's the Playboy girl; she's going to win. And no, that was a bad match too. I mean, John Cena versus Shawn Michaels was a good match. I'm not gonna discount it.
Well, it's Mr. WrestleMania.
Yeah, but the crowd wasn't happy.
Yeah, this really was, yeah, Joe. You could tell that they weren't, because they were basically, I don't want to say, it wasn't like that same, like every time you had a WrestleMania, the main event, it concluded 9 times out of 10. It was like yeah, that was awesome. This time it was like wow, we kind of want our money back.
Right.
So, yeah. So with the promos and everything, yeah, everyone was starting to get sick of John Cena, but it wasn't over yet.
And the theme was really bad. I mean, it bordered on as bad as WrestleMania 9 with the togas and the Coliseum bit, because it wasn't WrestleMania Motor City or anything like that. It was WrestleMania all grown up.
Yes.
And you're like, what the fuck? Because all the matches, the big matches, had like the kid version. So you had the little John Cena who's doing the hand gestures and shit. You had, Bobby or Stone Cold, little Stone Cold, and he's bashing together 2 little milk cartons instead of beers. It's like, oh, come on.
Well, I gotta say, like this was when PG really started to take over, and this is when WWE was really starting to market for the family-friendly event type of thing. I mean, it was basically, akin to, why don't you go to the library and watch them read, Lamb Chops Play Along. It was like that. It was they really pushed that hardcore because I mean, look at the matches that they had. I mean, the year before, they had a hardcore match with Edge and McFoley, and then this year, yeah, all grown up. I mean, it was night and day.
True.
All right, so WrestleMania 24 in the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida, in TNA's hometown, although TNA did not exist yet, so... Did they? 2008?
They existed.
Just not in Orlando. They were in
they were in
Tennessee.
Kentucky.
So.
Oh, yeah, Tennessee, sorry. Yeah, okay. All right, so big thing as far as... I don't know, I mean, Floyd Mayweather defeating Big Show by knockout in a no DQ match?
Which officially makes the WWE 0-2 against professional boxers.
But if they're going to do something like this, I gotta admit, I was really impressed with Mayweather with what they did in that match. They made it interesting.
Yeah, it was a lot better than the last one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the build up to it and the match itself, I thought was really well done. I really enjoyed that whole thing. It was entertaining. You know, obviously it wasn't necessarily totally believable, but it was definitely entertaining.
Oh yeah.
And this was CM Punk's first Money in the Bank ladder match win.
Yeah, it was first of 2, right?
Yep,
because he won the year after. Yeah, beat Mr. Kennedy of all people. Mr. Kennedy, people. Remember Carlito? Oh, Carlito.
Yep.
Made his WrestleMania debut.
Kane beat Chavo Guerrero for the ECW championship.
That's right. And then Shawn Michaels defeated Ric Flair in the career-threatening match, which I got to be honest, to give a match a gimmick, that was probably the most accurate.
The surprise. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying because I mean, when you look at that, you think Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair. You think there's. I can't imagine Ric Flair would walk out of this under his own power, but he did.
What else was there? You had Undertaker defeating Edge.
Yeah.
Randy Orton beating John Cena and Triple H. Who would have thunk that one?
Yeah, that was kind of but I mean, when you look at it, I mean, the problem is that you look at it in hindsight, it makes sense because they needed someone on the ECW side. Oh no, I'm sorry, no, John Cena. No, that's right, John Cena was on ECW or not ECW.
No, none of these guys were on ECW. These guys were all on Raw, sir.
No, I thought John Cena was on SmackDown at the time.
No.
And Orton was
SmackDown for years.
Oh.
No, Randy. No, this is a WWE Championship match. This was Raw. I mean, you had Taker versus Edge for the world. That was SmackDown. And ECW had ECW.
Okay,
Can't
all right.
beat Shadow.
Yeah, never mind then.
In like 10 seconds too.
Yeah.
One of the things that really surprised me about this is when they came up with the battle for brand supremacy, and you've got Batista defeating Umaga. So, and essentially SmackDown defeats Raw, which was surprising to me because, you know, the WWE knows that Raw is their top show.
Oh, yeah.
Right. This is the only way to give SmackDown that credibility to try and make it an equal show.
Right.
Yeah, that obviously did not work out.
No.
Belfast Brawl, John Bradshaw Layfield defeated Finlay with Hornswoggle. Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, that was
I actually liked that match. I enjoyed the whole Belfast Brawl and the Finlay Hornswoggle storyline that they had. I thought it was very cool. And Finlay was fantastic in the ring. Finlay, by far, to me, is probably one of the best wrestlers that I've seen. He's just not given a huge opportunity. But this was a huge opportunity, and I think he excelled.
All right, anybody could disagree?
Well, no, I mean, I thought it was a good match, and much like Garvin, you know, I think Finlay's an exceptionally skilled wrestler who doesn't get enough credit for what he does.
Okay, all right. WrestleMania 25, April 5th, 2009 at Reliant Stadium in Houston. Once again, CM Punk wins the Money in the Bank ladder match, but here's the interesting thing. This was the year of the 25 Diva Battle Royale to crown Miss WrestleMania, and Santino won. This was it. This was the end of women's wrestling.
Santina won, not Santino.
I'm sorry, Santina Marella won. This was the
It's
end
a sister,
of
man.
This was the end of This was the end of women's wrestling in the WWE.
Pretty much.
It was, yeah. I mean, this was it. This was. I mean, when the only time they show up on WrestleMania is in this battle royale, and Santina Marella wins.
Wait, Santina and Santino were the same person?
No,
Well,
they were
I don't
siblings, man.
Yeah. So 25. Yeah. Let's just talk about something else, please. Extreme Rules match. The Hardy brothers going up against each other before they basically.
This was an awesome match, mainly only because I liked seeing Matt hit Jeff with a twist of fate, but Jeff was also hooked through a chair.
That's right.
So Jeff didn't go anywhere, and Matt just ranked down on his neck. I'm like, talk about getting pissed at your brother. Like, we used to like throw a pillow or a softball at his head or something, tennis ball at his head or something like that. No, not fucking raping you with a chair. The other match I thought was interesting was the handicap elimination match. Chris Jericho beating Roddy Piper, Ricky Steamboat, and Jimmy Snuka with Mickey Rourke at ringside. On the ring, sitting in the seat to distract Chris Jericho because, the movie The Wrestler was out and they did all that hype.
No, that match was phenomenal because of how well Chris Jericho put over those three guys.
And how well Ricky Steamboat.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, how well he did considering how old he is. Yeah, especially with Jimmy. Jimmy Snuka still got up there, still got on the top rope and everything. And, you got to admire him for that. But, yeah, I got to say, this match to me, just like every possible accolade you could put on Chris Jericho as a professional wrestler that would make him a class of his own, this is probably it. Because you can always look at, like Bret Hart, and, always great on the mic, always great in the ring, always great, when you need him in a main event of WrestleMania. But with Chris Jericho, you knew hands down you could throw anything at him and he would turn it into gold.
It also didn't hurt that Roddy Piper and Jimmy Snuka were like major flops, and Steamboat just carried the damn match for that side.
Yeah, but still, I mean, Jericho just even though Roddy Piper and Snuka were doing terribly. I mean, dude, they're old. They were so past their prime. I mean, I would expect more out of Roddy Piper, but Jimmy Snuka.
Jericho proved he can work with anybody.
Yeah. I mean, you can get a 5-year-old child in there, and you could make it a main event of WrestleMania, and Jericho will sell it.
I don't think it'll be main event of WrestleMania, but yeah, Jericho will sell it for you.
Yeah, it'll be the best match of WrestleMania. What else?
Rey Mysterio beat JBL.
Yep, for the Intercontinental Championship. What else?
This is the first Taker Shawn Michaels.
That's right.
And this was the first time that they really addressed the streak as something worth trying to break. So Shawn Michaels was trying to break the streak.
Yeah,
they did it back when it was Triple H versus Undertaker. Back in WrestleMania 18. Was it 17 or 18?
Shh, that match never happened.
That pay-per-view never happened. I mean, Garv's right in that this one was, this was kind of booked as, Mr. WrestleMania versus the Streak, and that's how this match was booked. And this was the as far as the two stables of WrestleMania, the two pillars of what it is, are these two guys, and that they were finally going to go toe to toe at WrestleMania 25. And to me, as far as one of the best matches of the night, and two, the best hyped match. I mean, that's got to go down as it. I mean, that match was phenomenal, and it was hyped so well.
It was. Especially with like Shawn Michaels coming out like from the sky, doing the entire Undertaker entrance.
Yeah.
It was just badass.
John Cena defeated Edge and Big Show to win the championship, to win the heavyweight championship, and Triple H defeated Randy Orton to win the WWE championship. Basically, John Cena is cementing at this point his that the marks just can't stand this guy. Anything else I hear you guys want to talk about before we move on?
Yeah, this was the show that they gave Kid Rock like a 20-minute concert.
Oh god, that's right. Yeah. I totally blacked that out.
I tried.
I think I actually left the room.
Yeah, they give Kid Rock quite a bit of time.
Because he had just dropped an album at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that Taker versus Shawn Michaels match went right around 30 minutes. Was probably the longest WrestleMania match that wasn't, an Iron Man match or a title match at the time.
Sweet.
Excuse me. Oh, sorry. All right. So WrestleMania 26 was University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. This one, the follow-up to the last one, it was kind of meh. I mean, the Taker versus Shawn Michaels match was good, just wasn't as good as the year before. Yoshitatsu won the 26 Superstar WrestleMania Battle Royale, and look what happened to him. What
Jericho
else?
beat Edge.
Jericho beat Edge. Yeah, that was pretty big.
And if you jump to John Cena beating Batista, this was the match where the lights went out in the ring. Where part of the match, they had auxiliary lighting, but they didn't have it like right at the ring, so it was hard to see what the fuck was going on. I mean, and granted, it's John Cena versus Batista, so what the fuck? But yeah, this killed the crowd, killed it completely because they couldn't see what the fuck was going on. And then they followed up with Bret Hart and Vince McMahon.
Well, it's not like they planned that. I mean,
I know, but seriously,
this was a match that should have been a tag match with two other guys because these two, even no holds barred, it was just a terrible match. Even if the crowd was in it, it was still a bad match.
That's because Bret couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Bret couldn't do anything, and Vince was way old at that point.
Yeah, he's only gotten older. Jack Swagger won the Money in the Bank ladder match, starting his ascension. Oh no. He won. Oh, this is he used that to win the world championship, and that's when.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, starting his ascension and then eventual fall. Randy Orton won the triple threat between Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes, basically burying that stable that they had for a time. Rey Mysterio beating CM Punk. And then Undertaker defeating Shawn Michaels as the final main event in a match that was, I'm sorry, it just was not as good as the year before.
Right, but the way it was built up was it was a career versus streak match.
Yeah, and then Shawn Michaels lost and retired.
Yep.
Kind of. All right, anything else you guys want to bring out of this one before we move on to the final one before this year?
Triple H defeated Sheamus.
Yes, Triple H defeated Sheamus.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah. I mean, that was kind of a big moment considering how Sheamus debuted.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so WrestleMania 27, the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia. This was okay as far as pay-per-views go, at least in my opinion. The beginning of the card was meh, and then it just got really good near the end. Great Khali won the over-the-top WrestleMania Battle Royale. Why? I just don't get it. Cody Rhodes defeating Rey Mysterio in a match that really, when you think about how far Cody Rhodes, I mean, look at it this way. When you think about that match when he defeated Rey Mysterio, look where Cody Rhodes is now. And it's just 1 year.
Yeah, it was the beginning of the real Cody Rhodes push.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though. Edge beat Alberto Del Rio, kicking off. They kicked off WrestleMania with that. Great Khali won the overtop WrestleMania Battle Royal. That was before the show. That was pre-show.
Yeah.
Alberto Del Rio, Mr. Royal Rumble winner himself, tanks against Edge in Edge's final WrestleMania. Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was earlier in the... Yeah.
Yeah. Just, wow. It's hard to say much more.
Yeah, they really, really destroyed Alberto Del Rio with that match.
Oh yeah, he was buried, and then he's still buried. He hasn't done anything since then.
Yeah, he's still trying to recover from that. I mean, they really screwed him.
Yeah, that was only a 10-minute match too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy Orton beat CM Punk. John Morrison, Trish Stratus, and Snooki defeated Dolph Ziggler and Lay Cool. This was the one where we're still hearing about how John Morrison slighted Trish Stratus, and oh god, who cares?
Gave her the quote-unquote cold shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, look, Trish deserves all the accolades you can throw at a wrestler. I'm just really tired of hearing this drama backstage because it's like, well, it's because who John's married to, and who cares? Anyway, Snooki was in here and she did all right. I mean, she did that backflip thingy, which was kind
Yeah,
of cool.
that was impressive.
Yeah, Snooki did impress me. I mean, for somebody who spends most of her life drunk, she did pull off the cartwheel into the back elbow thing pretty nicely.
How much you want to bet that John Morrison's her baby daddy?
I went into this WrestleMania vowing not to watch that match, but I'm glad I did after seeing her do that, just because that was probably the most surprising moment a celebrity has made on a show, because you would have never expected that.
Yeah.
Right.
Michael
Cole versus Jerry Lawler.
Oh, God, that match was terrible.
And I think that was genius by the WWE. I mean, because they're like, okay, it's Snooki. Nobody expects her to do anything.
She came out with that.
They're probably working with her for 8 months on that, though.
Did one move.
Yeah.
Michael Cole defeating Jerry the King Lawler in a feud that never should have happened. That went on too long match.
That match went longer than the first 3 matches. The first 4 matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took forever. It was a terrible.
And it felt like you were watching the Royal Rumble, but just the time-wise, not the actual decency of the match.
Will this ever fucking end? Undertaker defeated Triple H in a no-holds-barred match, which is going to be topped this year with the Hell in a Cell match. That match, I keep saying it was a good match. It's an argument that we keep having on the show, that it was a good match from a storyline perspective, but as far as jaw-dropping excitement, it didn't deliver, but it didn't have to, because it was, I don't know, it showed that you could tell a story with a wrestling match. Within the confines of a ring, you could tell a story. And that's a great example of it. Kevin's the one. No, who hates it? Who hated that match?
Rob hates the match.
Rob hates the match.
Rob hates the match, that bastard.
Asshole. Yeah,
he doesn't know nothing about wrestling.
Okay, I'll give you one last chance, Rob. Try and persuade us to hating this match.
We don't have enough time.
It's not that I hated this match. The only thing that I said was that this match was not as good as it should have been, considering the talent inside. And that based on this match, I don't have high expectations for this year's match.
Even with a Hell in a Cell. All right, that's the, yeah, I guess you can make that. I mean,
you make a good point, Harrison, that, it's one of those times where Undertaker Triple H from last year's WrestleMania is probably one of the big times where the WWE's new mentality has worked. Well, we're not going to focus on actual wrestling. We want to tell a story. That Undertaker versus Triple H from last year's WrestleMania is probably the best example of that. Telling a story is all fine and good, but you tell the story outside the ring. Inside the ring, I want to see a wrestling match.
By the way, Rob, the live chat is booing you.
Yeah, well,
awesome.
Bite me.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, and the last WWE champion, The Miz defeating John Cena to get his momentary push, only to then fall and never recover. He's still not, he's still getting buried leading up to WrestleMania, this year's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You got to think about contrast. Just look at the two contrasts between Cody Rhodes and Miz last year's WrestleMania, and then this coming year's WrestleMania. You can't think of two bigger flips than those two.
Yeah, and it goes through cycles, and I think we all understand that. But for sure, like last year's WrestleMania was surrounded by Miz versus Cena. That was like the big thing. But then all of a sudden, The Rock was involved, and that's disappointing, because The Miz that was when he debuted his awesome entrance when he pushed through the bubble letters. He also had the very first segment of WrestleMania 27 where he was, in the production truck, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that he is no longer in that high profile situation, but we're still some time away before WrestleMania 28.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right, so that was WrestleMania, and we're not gonna do this for every pay-per-view. That was WrestleMania, through the years, 1 through 27. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna do ours, then we want to turn it over to you guys. Guys, everyone, when you look at WrestleMania history, to you, what was the absolute best moment? Joe. Talk it out.
You know what? I'm just going to go with one simple one. That's Ultimate Warrior beating Hulk Hogan for the title. Because you saw the Intercontinental title guy go against the World Heavyweight title guy and overcome everything that was Hulkamania. That was my that would be my ultimate WrestleMania moment.
Okay. Cool. All right. Rob, what was your ultimate WrestleMania moment?
For me, it's really a tie. I mean, WrestleMania 3, where Hogan picks up and body slams Andre the Giant. That to me is an iconic moment. I mean, as a little kid, I'm like, oh, yes! And then as I grow up and, you hear backstage interviews and you hear stuff like going into that match, Vince McMahon and Hogan had no idea if Andre the Giant was going to follow the script because Andre the Giant was so pissed off about how that match was supposed to end. Hogan wrestles the entire match and doesn't know if Andre the Giant is going to let him win until Andre the Giant's like, body slam. And then, of course, there's Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Iron Man match. I mean, to me, it's like dead heat for those between like iconic wrestling and just WrestleMania moments.
All right. Garvin, you want to give yours?
Yeah, I'm having I'm going back through this like all the cards, and I'm trying to think of what was the one standout moment for me.
You can say it, Garvin. You can say Santina Marella winning the 20.
Santina was hot, and I couldn't believe that she was really Santina. No, yeah, everything that stands out to me is surrounding Bret Hart. I think he really epitomized what a real wrestler is supposed to be, and like his match with Owen at WrestleMania 10, and then competing the same night against Yokozuna was just fantastic. The Shawn Michaels match, like Rob said, at WrestleMania 12 with Bret Hart, that was also a great moment. To be honest, I think that was probably my favorite match at WrestleMania was Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart in that Iron Man match. That was probably the only Iron Man match I really enjoyed from top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the problem with the Iron Man match is I think Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart hit the ball so far out of the park. Anytime any other Fed wants to do an Iron Man match, it's like, God, we're gonna suck compared to this.
Oh yeah, no, that match is the mountain, and when you climb it, where you stop defines who you are.
Yeah, and you look at that match. I mean, that was probably the last time that that WrestleMania wasn't pushed specifically by gimmicks. You had Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, and how they built that up was just looking at the backstory of Shawn Michaels and how he got into the business. Bret Hart, how he has accomplished as much as he had. It was basically wrestler versus wrestler, guy versus guy. And then after that, that was 1996. So after that, that's when you started seeing like Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels with Mike Tyson in the ring. And it started becoming more of like a gimmick, scripted type feel things where there's always like outside involvement in a lot of the main storyline. So I think by far that was probably the top moment for me.
Okay. Mine, yeah, it's the Iron Man match. Hands down, but since you guys mentioned it, I'm going to mention two more. When I look back at WrestleMania moments and I think about two things, one, if I had to pick one match to show somebody and say this is why pro wrestling is amazing, it would be the submission match between Bret Hart and Stone Cold because of the heel face switch. And just go, now watch this. Watch how the crowd hates Stone Cold up until the end. And then with one move, one just moment, can turn the crowd from one to the other and just instantly. And it was just like from then on.
And we lost Harrison for a moment.
Oh, really? Seriously? Stupid freaking Skype. Anyway, the fact that they switched heel and face in that one match is so phenomenal. But as far as looking back, the matches where I get the most goosebumps is on the same pay-per-view. It's Rocky Maivaia's debut, because you watch this guy come out with the stupid hair and that blue shit he was wearing, and he comes running out. And he's like
blue
big grin,
man.
Yeah, I know. He's big grin, high-fiving everybody, and you think, wow, this is The Rock. You kind of want to stop. You wish you could go back there and go and get to him backstage and pull him aside and just go, in about 15 years, you're going to be the biggest thing to happen to professional wrestling and arguably Hollywood at the same time. Now go out there and get him. Yeah. I mean, you almost want to tell him that, just so he knows what's going to happen to him. But yeah, as far as that, it's those two matches. Just those two moments for me are hands down it.
We asked this on Twitter and Facebook, and some of the responses we got was, Brett losing the HBK at WrestleMania 12. It was also Eddie slipping out of the ankle lock. Andre and Hogan, obviously, in WrestleMania 3 is the one that just about everyone pinpoints as the most important WrestleMania moment. The live chat is saying, that the three-way TLC match was also an incredible moment, which it was.
Oh yeah, instant, yeah. Hardys and everybody, yeah, it was great. So yeah, we want to turn it on to you. What was your best moment in WrestleMania history? Let us know. You can write us on, as always, you can let us know on Facebook or Twitter. As always, you can find this episode as well as our entire archive at ftwpodcast.com. You can hit us up at facebook.com/ftwpodcast, twitter.com/ftwpodcast, youtube.com/the FTW Podcast. You can send us a voicemail at 313-444-FTW4. That's 313-444-3894. Send us questions to questions@ftwpodcast.com. Rate us on iTunes and buy some merch already. We need to pay for the hosting. If you want us to bring you high-quality wrestling analysis and humor, support us by buying a t-shirt. Waka, waka, waka. All right, so that was it. That was every WrestleMania that's happened so far. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? Do you think that there's going to be a spectacular moment? Do you think that Rock versus Cena coming up is going to be the next big WrestleMania moment that we talk about for years?
I think it's the next big. I think it's the next biggest match since, or could be one of the biggest matches since Ultimate Warrior versus Hogan, because you've got two guys who are loved by masses.
Yeah,
it's simple.
Yeah, what I'm looking at with this could be almost another like icon versus icon match. I mean, we could see a repeat, kind of like Hogan passing the torch to Rock. We could see at this coming up WrestleMania, we could see The Rock kind of, give Cena that extra nudge. But regardless of who wins or whatnot, I think it's going to be an awesome match between those two.